No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw coming off the 2024 Money in the Bank Premium Live event. We are on the road to SummerSlam. This week's Raw was in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. We kicked off the show with a Money in the Bank video package, and then we had CM Punk coming down to the ring. CM Punk cut a promo, talked about screwing over Drew McIntyre. He did congratulate John Cena on retirement and said he would love to have one more match with Cena before Cena goes for good. As far as Drew, Punk said that there are consequences for actions, for McIntyre's stupid actions. Punk said he wanted to get his hands on McIntyre. He showed the footage of McIntyre's confrontation with Adam Pearce after Money in the Bank that resulted in Pearce suspending McIntyre indefinitely. Punk said he wants that suspension lifted. He said he'll beat up Drew McIntyre anywhere, any part of the arena. He said there's people on the other side of the camera, which was a little bit of a shot at AEW, very subtle. And then Seth freaking Rollins showed up because, after all, Rollins also got screwed by CM Punk at Money in the Bank. Rollins said that Punk did the one thing Rollins told him not to do, stick his nose in Rollins' business. Punk responded by saying he was just handling his own business, and he thought that maybe Seth Rollins, as a dad, would understand that when you go after family, things need to be dealt with. Punk did apologize, but then said since it's Seth Rollins, Punk cannot really be that sorry. Rollins responded by saying that Punk has been gaslighting and going out saying nothing is ever his fault. Rollins said Punk is the dumbest smart dude, and Rollins said how being champion is the most important thing to him. Punk took something away from him, and now he is going to take something away from Punk. And he knows that Punk is not 100%, but when Punk is cleared, Rollins made it clear that he will make sure that CM Punk never gets his hands on Drew McIntyre. And then Rollins finished off by saying that actions have consequences. Really good segment here, I thought. Definitely building up some heat now with Seth Rollins and CM Punk, continuing what was started before Punk got injured at the Royal Rumble. Now the question is, will this lead to a triple threat? That still remains to be seen. More on the Drew McIntyre part of it in just a few moments. We have a couple super chats here. Shout out to Michael sending in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Michael. I appreciate it. Michael said, there are people on this side of the camera. Punk taking shots at his former employer. LOL. The Liv and Dominik segment reminded me of Triple H and Trish Stratus. Oh, yes. We will be talking about all of the Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio drama on this show. And yeah, CM Punk taking a little jab at AEW. What's funny is it felt like a lot of people did not get it. Fans in the arena really did not react to it. And I even saw comments online, what's the context? And people had to point out, well, AEW doesn't draw all that well. And people are posting photos of the empty side of the arena where the hard camera is. Yeah, it was just Punk taking a little shot at AEW and getting people riled up. That's CM Punk for you. Shout out to Walter, Rage of Wrestling, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, wow, what a Raw. Start with a star, end with a star. yes, we started on a strong note and definitely ended on a high note. More on that in just a little bit. Backstage, Dominik Mysterio was with Adam Pearce. He said he did not want to team up with Liv Morgan, but Pearce said that she requested the match and it was official. Liv Morgan then came up to Dominik and she said she was doing the match for Dom, and Dom said that she better make sure they win. That's the only thing he cares about. More on them in a little bit. We had our first match of the evening, which was Jey Uso versus Chad Gable. Solid TV match here, back and forth with these two. Gable got the upper hand for a while, gave Jey a belly-to-belly on the floor, then got him back in the ring, came off the top with a flying headbutt. Then Jey made his comeback, but it was short-lived. Gable regained the upper hand, put on an ankle lock, but then the lights went out, as it does when the Wyatt Six are nearby. Gable was thrown off, and Jey Uso hit the spear, got the 1-2-3 victory. And as Jerry pointed out, Jey was maybe the smartest babyface. He knew to get the hell out of there, and that's what he did. Gable was in there, and smoke started filling in the ring. There were holy shit chants, once again censored by the USA Network. And then Abigail the Witch showed up. Gable ran to the back, and Abby gave another package to Michael Cole to show, another VHS tape. Jey Uso, I'm not sure where this is going with him, but as I've mentioned before, I feel like he needs to be getting involved with the Bloodline storyline and moving on to something else. Gable, of course, involved with the Wyatt Six, and we'll see where that goes. Backstage, Jackie interviewed Sheamus, talking about his 15-year anniversary with WWE, but he was quickly interrupted by Bronson Reed, and Sheamus issued a challenge after Reed said that Sheamus is in the past and Reed is the future. Reed said he would do the match, but first he was going to take care of Sheamus's old pal, Pete Dunne. We had Bronson Reed versus Pete Dunne in a singles match. The announcers brought up how Tyler Bate is injured. He's out of action, so Pete Dunne all by himself in this match. Basic Raw TV match, back and forth. And Reed took control for a while, but then Dunne avoided a senton. Reed then hit a sit-down power bomb, and Dunne was able to kick out of that. Both ended up on the top rope. Dunne got knocked off, and then Reed picked up the victory with the tsunami. And after the match was over, he went for more punishment, but then Sheamus ran down to make the save. Bro kick sent Reed out of the ring. Sheamus went over to hug his old friend, but Pete Dunne did not want that hug. He shoved Sheamus away and stormed off. Of course, Sheamus was the one who ultimately broke up the group, so Pete Dunne still holding that against Sheamus. I like that they're playing up on that and not just having these guys reunite, having layers to this, that, hey, Pete Dunne still resents Sheamus for breaking up the brawling brutes. I thought this was well done. We had Seth Rollins meeting with Damian Priest backstage, said that it's better to be lucky than good, but did admit that Damian Priest was good. And Rollins said he'll be keeping his word since Priest kept his word. There was no interference from the Judgment Day. Rollins said he will not go for the title again as long as Priest is champion, but Priest said, forget about that. Priest said that when he beats Gunther, he will give Rollins another opportunity at the World Heavyweight title. Now, this definitely felt like Damian Priest moving in a babyface direction, saying that he'll give Rollins another opportunity. But of course, I'm not sure we're going to see Priest as champion all that much longer. Of course, he's got Gunther coming up pretty soon. We had Sami Zayn come into the ring for a promo, and he talked about his victory over Braun Breaker, proud to represent Canada as the champion in Ottawa. And he said Braun Breaker made the mistake of thinking he was the underdog. Zayn said he's not an underdog anymore. He is, in fact, the Intercontinental Champion. Now, of course, Braun Breaker showed up. Sami Zayn wanted to know what the hell you want. He gave him the mic. Breaker responded by saying there's no reason for him to get a rematch. He was thinking, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he speared Sami Zayn. Officials came down there. Breaker got out of the ring, but then ran across the ring, speared Sami Zayn on the floor, and then Ilya Dragunov came out there, confronted Braun Breaker, and checked on his friend Sami Zayn. Shout out to Walter Cruz, Rage of Wrestling, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Walter says, why are we censoring crowd chants? I understand censoring the wrestlers themselves since it's a script, but it's the crowd. You can't control that. They decide if they want to censor the crowd, and if they can make out that the crowd's dropping an F-bomb, then that's what they're going to do. I mean, it's not as bad as Fox. I will say that. Fox has been worse right now, and maybe that's because it's a lame duck period. It's the end of WWE on Fox, and Fox is just like, whatever. We're not dealing with any BS right now, so they're going to censor. They're going to put the black screen up. USA Network is doing it too, but I feel like it's not quite as bad. And, of course, with Netflix, it should be a bit of a different scenario. Although, man, people are going to be pissed if Netflix starts censoring stuff, which, I mean, we'll see if they end up doing that. I feel like nothing is a guarantee at this point. I know people are saying, oh, it's on Netflix. They're going to be able to get away with anything. I don't know if that's exactly going to be the case or not. But, we're all hopeful that these chants being censored will at least come to an end. Now, Dragunov wanted a match with Braun Breaker, and backstage he confronted Adam Pearce, and a match was set up. We had a John Cena video package recapping his retirement announcement, and we had a 6-man tag team match. Awesome Truth and Braun Strowman versus the Judgment Day. Judgment Day attacked Awesome Truth during their entrance. And then Braun Strowman ran down. He chased after Carlito. Awesome Truth got in some offense, doing the John Cena moves. R-Truth paying tribute to his childhood hero. But then Judgment Day took control during the commercial break. And McDonagh started getting a little too cocky. He taunted Braun Strowman. Strowman, of course, got the hot tag. Chokeslammed Finn Bálor. Judgment Day broke up the pin attempt. And then Strowman, along with R-Truth, did the Strowman Express together. And then Braun Strowman chased away JD McDonagh. R-Truth was all happy, celebrating, but he took his eyes off Finn Bálor. Stupid baby face, but I mean, it's R-Truth, so I guess it falls in line with the character. And Finn Bálor picked up the victory with the coup de grace. Miz tried to warn R-Truth, but it was too little, too late. Judgment Day picks up the victory, and we'll see how much longer the Miz and R-Truth tag team lasts before the Miz has enough. I mean, I feel like we're almost due for a Miz heel turn. Like he's the modern day Big Show of face and heel turns, and would not shock me if we get another Miz turn at some point. You would think he would have something coming up with SummerSlam in Cleveland. And I agree with this comment. Carlito's been very entertaining with Judgment Day. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. Now, backstage, Adam Pearce talked to CM Punk, Pierce said he knows Punk wants the match with McIntyre, but he needs to talk to Drew McIntyre. He told Punk, stay at home next week. Pierce said Punk needs to heal up, get cleared, and he'll handle Drew McIntyre next week. Punk did agree. And next week, I guess we're going to have Drew McIntyre and Adam Pearce. We'll see what happens with that to potentially set up a match with CM Punk, whether it's a singles match or a triple threat. Looks like we'll have that follow-up next week. Now, we had a very entertaining segment. Liv Morgan backstage with Dominik. She wanted to practice some moves for their tag team match. She wanted him to loosen up. She started massaging his feet, his legs, and Dominik said it was actually feeling good. And of course, right as he said this, Judgment Day walked in, and Carlito and JD McDonagh, Finn Bálor, they're all popping their heads around the corner. And Priest was not amused by this. He said that Dominik should have taken care of business a while ago, wrapped this whole thing up. It's not hard, he said. And Carlito looked down and he said, it actually does look kind of hard. A little bit of non-PG dialogue on this show as we inch closer to the Netflix era. We had another video from the Wyatt 6 shown. And this was a promo from Bo Dallas, talked about how he gave the disregarded a purpose. And then he asked the question to Uncle Howdy, is he sick? And Uncle Howdy said he would say yes. And then we had clips of all the Wyatt 6 members, creepy footage, and it finished with Bo Dallas saying then, if he's sick, sick is what they will be. We had Chad Gable venting to Adam Pearce, and basically Chad Gable said he's going to handle the Wyatt 6 his way. And then as Adam Pearce went into his office, Bo Dallas was just sitting in there, and the door shut, and I guess we'll have to see what the follow-up to that is. I'm really loving this stuff. I thought the VHS tape clip was really well done. I enjoyed that. And Bo Dallas just sitting there like a normal person in Pierce's office. I thought this was another strong segment with the Wyatt 6. Hopefully we'll get to see them wrestle pretty soon. We had a Damage CTRL promo, and they talked about how they're going to push back. They lost control. They're going to take control back. And they had a match set. They were hyping that up against Lyra Valkyria and Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. We had Braun Strowman versus Ilya Dragunov. Good match as usual from these two. They always deliver in the ring. Dragunov struggled a bit to get in any offense over Breaker, but then he eventually picked up some momentum, powerbombed Braun Breaker out of the corner, hit him with a top rope senton. Breaker kicked out. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." And then Braun avoided the coast-to-coast, sent Dragunov to the outside, went for his spear on the outside of the ring, but Dragunov caught him with a boot to the face. And then Dragunov charged at Breaker, and then Breaker all of a sudden grabbed the announcer chair, threw it right in the face of Dragunov, and got himself disqualified. Braun Breaker takes another L, but hey, there was a moment of rage, and it looked pretty cool. So after this, he continued his attack. Sami Zayn came out there to make the save and return the favor, but Braun Breaker was able to overpower both guys. So we'll see where this goes. Maybe they'll do a triple threat at SummerSlam. I mean, right now, everything's all friendly between Dragunov and Sami Zayn. And yeah, this was a DQ, but DQ on Monday Night Raw. Braun Breaker's been involved in quite a few, though, so I feel like Braun's got to start picking up some clean wins here fairly soon. Other than that, I had no problem with the segment. We had a Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega promo to hype up the main event against Dominik and Liv Morgan. We then had a Damian Priest video package, talked about the match with Gunther at SummerSlam for the world title. He invited Gunther to meet him face-to-face in the ring on next week's Raw. And then we also had the Final Testament. They had a video package, a promo, talked about how the old guard is making way for the new guard. Even guys like John Cena are going to step aside, and Cross talked about how Xavier Woods just doesn't realize that the New Day is dead. I still don't care about this. I want to see the breakup of the New Day. This is like the one week-to-week storyline on Raw that I really have no interest in. They got to come up with something here because I just don't give a damn about it. We had a tag team match. Damage Control versus Lyra Valkyria, Kayden Carter, Katana Chance. Lyra's team had the early momentum. They were working well together as a team. Lyra continued the offense after the commercial break, but then Damage Control, they got their act together. They picked up the momentum, triple teaming. And we had Chance and Carter coming back in to help Lyra. All six were in the ring. We got that six-person suplex spot where Lyra's team suplexed all three members of Damage Control at the same time. It's goofy, it's over choreographed, but the crowd loves it. They always pop for it. Same thing as those Tower of Doom spots. Carter and Chance did the keg stand double team to Dakota Kai. EO made the save, and then Damage Control regained the upper hand, and EO picked up the win over the moonsault onto Carter, 1, 2, 3. But then after the match, we had Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville attacking them after the match, triple teaming Damage Control, beating up EO Sky. Is this a face turn for Damage Control? Either way, I thought this was a very good angle. Definitely what Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark need. They've needed something. And Sonya Deville maybe can boost them up and elevate them. Because they definitely need some kind of momentum right now. But I did think it was a good segment. And then we had a Gunther video package hyping up SummerSlam, hyping up his return for next week, talking about like he just enjoys making people miserable. And we had a backstage segment with Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark talking about how now they can reach their full potential. And they issued a warning shot to the women's division, but then Isla Dawn and Alba Fire came in, said it's still their division, but Sonya said, not for long. And then we had a little shot in the background of Chad Gable once again with the Creeds. So maybe we're going to get the new Alpha Academy versus the Wyatt Six some point. Not sure when. It might not be for another 3 or 4 months at the rate this is going, but we'll see. They keep teasing it. And then we had our main event of the evening, Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega versus Dominik Mysterio and Liv Morgan. Mixed tag team match, meaning the men wrestled the men, women wrestled the women. And early on in the match, Dominik got knocked into Liv Morgan, who was in the corner. His head fell right between her legs. And as mentioned earlier, you could tell this was definitely influenced by the Triple H and Trish Stratus segments from the Attitude Era. Probably Triple H's idea for all these segments where Liv and Dominik keep falling into compromising positions. So that was before the commercial break. And then after the break, Dominik got the upper hand for a while. He went at the mask of his own father. Zelina Vega came in, went after Liv Morgan. Liv avoided the code red. Liv did the three amigos, and then the men tagged back in. Dominik blocked Ray's 619 attempt, but then Zelina hit a 619 on Dominik, and things were looking good for Ray's team. But then Liv Morgan broke up the pin attempt. Zelina got sent into the ring post, and then Liv threw a chair in the ring, knocked Rey Mysterio off the apron, and then Dominik hit the big frog splash, picked up the 1-2-3 victory. And then we had the big angle at the end where, in a moment of just excitement over the win, Dominik hugged Liv and then immediately backed off. But then Liv embraced Dominik and pulled him to the mat. And then just as she was going for that kiss, very close, just a split second from the kiss, Rhea Ripley makes her big return. Rhea Ripley rushes down to the ring. Liv Morgan runs away for dear life. Liv takes off. Rhea gets in the ring and has a little confrontation with Dominik. And just before we could see the fallout, Raw abruptly goes off the air. It did feel like it was a bit rushed, but maybe that was by design to end with the cliffhanger with Rhea Ripley and Dominik. What's going to happen now? What's next for Rhea Ripley and Dominik, and where does this go? How does this play out? Great ending to the show. I wish they would have given it like maybe even just an extra 10 seconds of Rhea and Dominik just having that moment. What's going to happen? So we'll see what the follow-up is on next week's show. David Estevez sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Liv gave Dominik something Rhea was never able to give him, beating Rey Mysterio. That is very true. This was the first time Dominik beat Rey. I think eventually Dominik betrays Rey and Priest, joins the rest of Judgment Day, Great Raw. Well, that could very well be how this plays out. Rhea Ripley versus Liv, and Dominik acts like he's on Rhea's side, but then turns against Mommy and joins up fully with Liv Morgan. We'll see what happens. Overall, Raw was another very entertaining show. It did have some filler this week, but the main angles I thought were very well done. Loved the ending. The Judgment Day stuff has been very entertaining. So I give the show a B+. Another strong Raw. Looking forward to next week. SummerSlam is shaping up nicely. And overall, thumbs up for Monday Night Raw. Dominik's got some explaining to do. And we'll have to tune in next week to see the next part of this episodic drama. But thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I very much appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube. No DQ review coming up. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday night. I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss regarding Raw and Money in the Bank. It's been an interesting couple of days for sure. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Say yes to no DQ, and I will see you all next time.